Okay, it's 6 o'clock exactly. I'll now call the regular meeting of the McKinleyville Community Services District Board of Directors for Wednesday, November 6, 2024 to order. Okay, roll call. Joey, would you please take the roll?
President Bender.
Yes.
Director Beitman.
Yes.
Director Couch. Director Mayo.
Present.
And Director Orsini.
Present.
Okay, thank you. Director Couch, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item A3, additions or changes to the agenda. Items may be added to the agenda in accordance with section 54954(2)(b)(2) of the Government Code, Brown Act, upon a determination by two-thirds vote of the members of the legislative body present at the time of the meeting, or if less than two-thirds of the members are present, a unanimous vote of those members present, that there is a need to take immediate action, and that the need for action came to the attention of the McKinleyville Community Services District after the agenda was posted. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
There are no additions or changes to the agenda.
Thank you. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Joey?
President Bender.
Yes.
Director Beitman.
Yes.
Director Couch. Director Mayo.
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
Okay, item A5, closed session discussion. At any time during the regular session, the board may adjourn to a closed session to consider existing or anticipating litigation, liability claims, real property negotiations, license and permit determinations, threats to security, public employee appointments, personnel matters, evaluations and discipline, labor negotiations, or to discuss with legal counsel matters within the attorney-client privilege. There are no closed session discussions scheduled. B, public hearings. These are items of a quasi-judicial or legislative nature. Public comments relevant to these proceedings are invited, and there are no public hearings scheduled. C, public comment and written communications. Any person may address the board at this time upon any subject not identified on this agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the McKinleyville Community Services District. However, any matter that requires action will be referred to staff for a report of action at a subsequent committee or board meeting. As to matters on the agenda, an opportunity will be given to address the board when the matter is considered. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Letters should be used for complex issues. Are there any written communications?
No, there are no written communications.
Okay, thank you. Any member of the public wish to address the board during public comment time? I see no one on Zoom. Is that correct, Joey?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to D, consent calendar. Consent calendar items are expected to be routine and non-controversial, to be acted upon by the board of directors at one time without discussion. If any board member, staff member, or interested person requests that an item be removed from the consent calendar, it shall be removed so that it may be acted on separately. Does any board member, staff member, or interested person request one of these 5 items to be removed?
I do. I request that item D5 be removed from the consent calendar and discussed separately.
Okay, we will remove item D5.
I'll move items 1 through 4.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve items 1 through 4 on the consent calendar. Joey?
President Bender.
Yes.
Director Beitman.
Yes.
Director Couch.
Yes.
Director Mayo.
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Flip back to item D5. Okay, item D5, consider approval of public member applicants to the Trails Infrastructure Cleanup and Security Subcommittee. And this consent calendar item will be presented by Parks and Rec Director Kirsten Messmer.
Thank you. It was the duty of the McKinleyville Community Forest Committee, or MCFC, to vet and select the most qualified candidates to become members of the Trails, Infrastructure, Cleanup, and Security Subcommittee, lovingly referred to and named by James Henry, TICS. The committee was tasked to review candidate applications, discuss the candidates' qualifications, and select the most qualified candidates to serve on the subcommittee by majority vote. Nicolette Amon, her application was attachment 1. Kenneth Burton, attachment 2. Nancy Morelli, attachment 3. Justin Brown, attachment 4. Phil Heydrich, attachment 5. Charlie Caldwell, attachment 6. And Sean Fife, attachment 7, submitted applications for consideration. Phil Heydrich is the current chair of the Parks and Recreation Committee, of which Charlie Caldwell is also a member. Charlie Caldwell and Sean Fife are both representatives of the Mountain Bike Tribal Trail Alliance. All applicants reside within the MCSD service area. There are currently 5 public member seats open on this committee. On October 8th, 2024, the MCSD Board Secretary sent the 7 submitted applications and a link to a Google survey for ranking them to members of the MCFC. A summary of the ranking has been provided as attachment 8. During the October 15th, 2024 MCFC meeting, the committee voted to make a recommendation to the MCSD board to approve the following candidates to the TICS subcommittee. 1, Charlie Caldwell. 2, Kenneth Burton. 3, Phil Heydrich. 4, Sean Fife. And 5, Justin Brown. Staff recommends that the board review the information provided, air questions, take public comment, and vote on the McKinleyville Community Forest Committee's recommendation to the MCSD Board of Directors for appointments to the Trails, Infrastructure, Cleanup, and Security Subcommittee for the term of 1 year.
Okay, thank you very much. Director Beitman, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I've discussed this these committee appointments with some members of the equestrian community, and they've expressed, shall we say, difficulty that the people who have been appointed from the community appear to reflect predominantly one user group and do not represent what we would hope would be a diverse representation from the community. And looking down over the list and the background statements of each of them, I tend to agree with what the people in the equestrian community have said to me. Unfortunately, I don't see any of them present at the meeting tonight, although I do specifically suggest to them that if they are concerned, that they ought to come here and express their concerns publicly to the meeting, and not just to me in private. But at any rate, I feel bound to pass on that concern, and to say also that I would hope that the public representation of this community, on this committee, would represent a broad spectrum of potential user groups. And I tend to be, at least at that level, in agreement with what's been said to me. I'm not at this point prepared to suggest that the board ask the committee to take it back and review it, but I'll say I want to express what was told to me, and I think it's a valid criticism. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Any of the members of the board wish to speak? Greg?
So I went through and did the ranking, and I was very it seemed like we did, it was low, there was a lot of people, there was like how can I state this? That it seemed like there was a lot of people from there were several people from a smaller group, like we had 2 people from the RAC committee that are on that, and then we had 2 people that were from the bicycling committee or the mountain biking committee. I don't recall really, or 3 people. I don't really recall any equestrian people putting in, actually voicing any interest. Am I remiss in that?
Yes, there is one.
There's one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is? I think that was Nancy Morelli or something.
Nancy Morelli? Okay. Okay, that's right. I recall that, and so, yeah, it was. I think that the process was, as I don't know, I don't want to, democratically done is way overused nowadays, but they do have the ability to come to the meetings. I mean, as many of the equestrian folks that want to come to public meetings, so I think that they could come to the meetings. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
All right. Greg, if I may, I'd like to respond to that, which is that I think, how do I say it, just as simply as I can, I think that we are potentially running the risk that the quiet users, and they'll say they do absolutely have the opportunity to come to meetings, and the ones that have spoken with me, I've encouraged them to come to meetings, but they don't seem to show up. On the other hand, the fact that they're not speaking out does not, I believe, relieve us of the responsibility of making sure that their interests are represented and represented well. And move away from the equestrians, if I think of the guy that I've seen out there with the binoculars and bird watching, pretty shy fellow, and yet he certainly is one of the people that, or he and others like him, are the people for whom this property and the development of this property is intended in part. And one person said to me, and she said it very simply, aren't we legally bound to provide, since the whole community was part of, and we're all being taxed to purchase and develop this property? Isn't it incumbent upon the MCSD board to make sure that our interests are considered? And I didn't have a response, and obviously the response is, well, the meetings are open, you could come to the meetings. I said that to her, and she said to me very simply, she said, I don't think that is a requirement. And so I got a hard pushback on that one. Yeah, you could come to a meeting. Yeah, the meetings are open, they're public, the agendas and the dates of the meeting are published and so on. And then, of course, the answer I got was, I shouldn't have to. My interest should be considered because I'm being taxed for this. I'm having, I'm paying for it. Isn't that enough? And that was the response that I got.
Yeah, I appreciate the the kind of the difficult position that sort of put you in. I wish I had an answer.
Yeah, I couldn't give her an answer.
I had a question. Could we modify this list? I mean, do we have to, is it yes or no on the list as provided to us, or could we?
Do anything we want.
You can do anything you want. Okay.
Yeah, I guess this is just a recommendation from the Community Forest Committee. We can do whatever we want with the Board of Directors, as long as 5 of us or 3 of us agree.
No,
Exactly. Do you have something to say, Dennis?
I do, and Jim, I was very surprised that there wasn't more representation, and I think it's incredibly important that we have someone from the, I hate to use the word equestrian, that seems quite foo-foo to me, from the horseback riding community, but I think it's really important, and on this list, and I read through that, and everybody on here is outstanding. I would advocate for only one, just not discounting everybody else, but Charlie Caldwell has paid his dues to this community, and I mean, there's nobody in this community that is going to do a more stand-up job than Charlie on anything he does. Plus, I don't know if is he not here tonight? Good, because I wouldn't want to praise him when he's here. Anyway, other than that, I have no objection to anybody on the list, except I do completely agree with Director Beitman's position. And Jim, do you have any idea on why we didn't have more of the horse communities step up?
no, well, unfortunately, I chose this particular time to take a week and a half trip and visit my family in New England, and so my role as a channel of communication was cut off as a consequence of that.
So over the years, one of the things that I've done in every venue I've been a part of, as you well know, is advocate for access, recreational access, horseback riding. And I do that to the objection of a lot of people. And that's one of the reasons that I was very happy to have you step into your position on this committee and have me back out a little bit, because I knew your connections with the endurance riders is a little tighter than mine. You know, anyway. So I was hoping that you would represent those positions in the deal. And as a committee member, correct me if I'm wrong, Kristen, but official board members on the committee, or excuse me, official committee members can review and object and overrule anything from that goes on.
Yeah, so this, the full committee, like, that also is, I think, something to be considered, that this is the recommendation from people that you guys appointed to the full committee to recommend to you, unanimously selected these 5 applicants.
Right.
And they have a diverse background themselves, so I would be, if I were you in your shoes, I would be hesitant to disregard their recommendation, because again, they are a diverse, large committee. So this was a lot of people unanimously picking these 5 out of 7. Yes, they all had things to offer, and some of them gave more information, which made their rankings higher, because they included, and they were all told when they submitted their application that attaching a resume, giving us as much information as possible is really, like, this is competitive. If you want on this board, you need to show why and how, and some of the responses were 1-sentence responses versus paragraphs, so.
Right.
Or pages.
Yeah.
Well, I think we had 10 pages on one or something like that. But I'm not done, if you guys don't mind.
No, go ahead. I want to be next.
So I appreciate that, and like I said, everybody on the list is outstanding. And yet I wouldn't necessarily advocate for anybody particularly, except like I said, for Charlie, because of our work experience, my work experience with Charlie over the years. But didn't we hold a position for a tribal member that we're holding that position open for when that develops through their process with us? Okay. I kind of think that the equestrian community should be considered not in that same light, because the equestrian community is not on an equal, I don't know how to say this, but our tribal communities have a standing that is here, and our equestrian community has a standing that, kind of like me, I'm not a sovereign entity. So I don't want to try to equate that as any kind of equivalency, if you will. On the other hand, I agree with Director Beitman, but I don't know where that goes tonight. Maybe it's okay, and maybe, Kim, maybe you're able to provide that coverage. I don't know. Those are just my thoughts.
Okay, Greg?
So now that I've looked at this, I do recall, and I looked at Nancy Morelli's application. It was kind of sparse of information, but I do recall that I ranked her, since she was the only one that had any equestrian or horseback riding experience. I ranked her fairly high, but obviously most of the other people that she didn't make it into the top five. These seats are for a 1 year period of time, correct? So I think that maybe coming to these meetings is one of the things that's very important about is that they're going to have to show up at the meetings, and they're going to need to participate. And there's the meetings are once a month. So there's that part about it. And like I said before, there's nothing that stops people from 5 or 6 people that have equestrian backgrounds can come to these meetings, and they can have their say, but as public input. And then maybe in a year, if so inclined, somebody, the next time we do this, a little bit more commitment to filling out the application, and that could be done, and the people could, and maybe they would fare better during the vetting process. But I'm inclined to go with the recommendation, though I do agree 100%. I think that there needs to be equestrian representation at some level within the community forest, because they're definitely stakeholders. They're going to utilize, they can bring forth resources and kind of do what we're looking for in these subcommittees or in the main committees. So, but I'm inclined to just go with the recommendation of the committee right now.
Okay, thanks, Greg. Do you have anything to comment?
Oh, I
Dave?
did. I was thinking, since they said
Anything more?
the board can do anything, I'd like to expand the list from 5 to 6. That way we don't have to chop anybody off of it. And
It's not a bad idea, Dave.
Add Nancy Morelli as number
Well, we already
6.
approved that there was gonna be 5 people on it.
Well, we could
We
change
already
that.
did.
Yeah, we can, yeah.
Okay, well,
I mean, that was just my thought. I was going, well, can I chop somebody? I don't really want to chop somebody off the recommendation, but
Okay.
we can add somebody.
yeah, okay, well, you know, my thoughts on this is that I agree with Director Messmer. We have that committee for a reason. The committee forwarded their rankings on to us, and they did a thorough job at doing their rankings, and this is what we should do. I have a hard time bumping what I guess would be Justin Brown in place of Ms. Morelli on a singular criterion based upon their user group identity. And so I'm going to support approving it as written.
Yeah, so I read through all of this before, and I'm just kind of looking at it again, and I'm not sure that 10 pages is more important than someone that answers all the questions. Not dissing that at all. I'm just saying that here's the form and everything's been answered satisfactorily to me. If Director Beitman had been at this meeting, perhaps we would have a different perspective on it. I like Dave's or Director Couch's thought, and that's something that perhaps we could consider. But I'm okay with if the board decides that this is okay. I'm okay. I'm just saying that we spent some time here, a couple different meetings, maybe 3, knocking around contentious issues with the bikes and the e-bikes. You know, here's a deal, and then other things were presented, and well, maybe this and maybe that, and we ran around. So this isn't too out of the realm of our discussions and thought processes about this process. If I'm wrong on that, tell me. I think we have went through these kind of things, trying to support our users. So anyway, that's all I got to say, guys. If Dave wants to make a motion of some way, I don't know whether that's a doable thing, I'd second it, but it doesn't look like it would pass, but maybe it would, I don't know. GM, could you give us a little guidance on that as a possibility?
Sure. I'd like to add a bit more before that as well. I don't believe this is a zero-sum game. I don't believe that there's winners and losers on this. Nancy can show up, as has been said. She can come to every trails meeting or forest management meeting or community forest meeting and weigh in. And I hope the equestrians show up when we do the public meetings and have the maps on the wall and have them marking them up. But even if they choose not to do any of that, I also agree with whoever was talking to Director Beitman that I feel like it's my job, and I feel like anyone on this committee would say it's their job to make sure that we establish a network of multi-use trails or multimodal, where equestrians and mountain bikes and people can walk and dog walkers, et cetera, can enjoy the trail. Yeah, that's your job, my job, and I think we will get there. And I don't think we necessarily have to change this recommendation. As far as adding a 6th person right now, that would require a change to the rules and regs. The rules and regs say that there are 5 public members, which we can do, but we did not notice that at this meeting.
That would have to be brought
Right.
back next meeting, okay?
Right. That's it for me.
Okay, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, Are there any unintended consequences to us adding a sixth member to this committee, do you think? Either of you?
I am having a hard time thinking of one. I think the more input we can get, the better. It just, the only reason I really think that we limit it is so it doesn't just get too unwieldy and there's so many people trying to chime in. It takes 8 hours for every meeting. But that's okay, it's James's meetings, so.
That,
Oh, James,
well,
let's have something right there.
Pat, I understand that comment. On the other hand, as you stated earlier, everybody's welcome to come to the meetings, so they'll be able to chime in and do it anyway, so I think that's kind of mutes that a bit, anyway, so.
Okay, Jim?
Yeah, first off, I think the issue belongs back at the committee rather than at the board. But the second point is, that I think is worthy of the board's consideration, not necessarily for action, but just for consideration, is that under Green Diamond's ownership, groups of people have had a license to be on that property and use it for recreation. The equestrian groups under Tom McDonald had, they had passes.
I had one, yeah.
And the same as with the McKay track, they were issued keys to gates and were seen as, how do we say, responsible users of the property. The others that had a similar thing, and one of the applications of a person who was not accepted alludes to it, is that adjacent property owners served as a, if you will, a volunteer security force for Green Diamond, and were treated as such. And they came to see that relationship was a legitimate relationship in their recreational use of the property. And all I'm trying to suggest here is that we have a legacy that goes back, quite frankly, 30 to 40 years under Green Diamond, and before them with Simpson Timbers ownership of that property and people using it for recreation. Now, admittedly, some of the recreational uses are ones that we don't want to see continue, such as riding motorcycles and trail bikes and ATVs on the property. But so far as I know, Green Diamond never permitted motorized vehicles of any sort on the property. So somewhere in our developing the community representation that I think is absolutely essential, I would hope that we consider the legacy of this property and the people who have been using it for decades for recreation, believing that they had official permission to do so. Now that we change ownership, admittedly, that was not part of the purchase agreement to honor these either official or unofficial or informal relationships that Green Diamond had established. But nonetheless, they are the community. And somehow or other, I think it's incumbent upon us to bring that into what we do in terms of the community that will be using this property for recreation, as well as, of course, the wider McKinleyville community and the kids that play there and all the rest of that. I think, honestly, I think it's incumbent upon, and this is why I say take it back to the committee, I think it's incumbent upon us who sit on that committee to proactively develop this representation. And I don't see that a posted request for applications as being particularly proactive. And I would hope that the committee finds a way to reach out and draw the people in that will form this collection of those who are both historically users and future users, so that whatever is developed considers the entire community and does it effectively. And I'm going to shut up at this point, and I will support whatever goes forward tonight. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dennis?
I'm prepared to make a motion subject to public comment, but I'd like to ask a question. I want to propose to accept the staff position and to modify it that we direct back to the rec committee. It is the rec committee, correct? No, the forest committee.
It's the Forest Committee.
Okay, the forest committee, that they reevaluate the list and consider our concerns that an equestrian member needs to be on the board, on the committee. I'm prepared to make a motion to approve this if we could, and then also in that approval with the request to go back to the committee and have them look at our concerns about having a equestrian member on the committee. If they agree, fine. If they don't agree, fine. But I think that might alleviate some of the concerns I think three of us have here without scooching the pooch here, so to speak.
Okay,
Is that something that's doable, Pat?
Can I get a clarification?
Okay, Dennis, how would you propose to bring about this resolution if it is sent back to the committee, if you move to approve what's there?
And hopefully the committee would review it and then say, yes, we would like to increase the membership to 6 members and add this person on. And if they came back and said no, well then, okay. So that's just a suggestion. I'm not trying to cram anything down anybody's throat, but I think it's a valid point.
Okay, Kirsten?
Yes, can I just add, so part of why we landed on 5 is that we have 6 members from the McKinleyville Community Forest Committee already on this subcommittee. So we wanted to be able to, we picked 5 because then 6 makes a quorum. The Park Committee is also a large committee where the last 2 meetings of the Park Committee, we barely were able to have a meeting because we barely had 6 people. I would be concerned with adding more because then that is a problem when people don't want to show up. If they don't show up because they don't care about what we're talking about, then we may not, if enough of them don't show up, we can't have a meeting.
Yeah,
So
you can't have
that
a
is why 5 was picked. So I just want to, there was some thought behind that number.
Okay, thank you. Greg?
Yeah, so Dennis, for clarification, were you talking about getting an equestrian representative on the subcommittee, on the trail subcommittee, or on the community forest committee?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the composition of the subcommittee that's going to be working on the development of
On the text committee.
of the plan for the use of the property, which includes trails and other things.
Okay.
And my concern, although it's expressed as equestrian, my concern is larger than that, in that I would like, and I guess the people who were banging on my head would like to see that this community representation on the subcommittee looks more like representative of the community and less like representative of a narrow set of users.
Yeah,
And
and that
that's-
was my concern too, when I seen all the people that were ended up on it. One of the, can I, sorry. So, and I completely respect what Kirsten is saying, but one of the ways we might be able to, that this might work is if we added an alternate member. And in that way, the way things have been going, I think the alternate member would have a voting, if they showed up, they'd have a vote every time, because getting everybody there for the quorum might be a way that we could do that, is add an alternate member?
Yes, I believe that we still also would, do we need to update the rules and regs to create alternate?
Yeah, you'd have to update the rules and regs, but what I'm saying is.
But we could do that, yes.
Instead of a full membership. So these guys aren't even listening to what I'm saying.
No, we're listening, believe me, I can multitask.
Okay, but that would kind of, that might be a way to have the best of both worlds, is to add an alternate.
And that's a modification of my thought process, and I support it 100%.
No.
And this might be me speaking out of my realm of understanding of how this all works. But this is the TICS committee meeting, and I confirmed with Kirsten, there is another committee for the McKinleyville Community Forest as well. It's not specific to trails, but it is specific to forest management. And we had no committee applicants, correct, for that committee. So there are public seats available to people that want to be involved in this. It just might not be specific to trails, but at least they would have a voice with the community forest in some way if they were interested in doing so.
Okay.
I think the trails people are not, anyway, I hear you, but I don't think that's, I wouldn't do that, but whatever.
Okay. Any staff have any comments additionally? And members of the general public?
Good evening. It's so interesting to be on this side of the microphone. I just would like to caution the board and the assumptions you're making about the people who have shown up to meetings, shown up to do work, have applied, that their interest is singular. I can say with some certainty that two of your applicants, Phil Heydrich and Charlie Caldwell, are interested in serving the community as a whole, and they understand this project and its contribution to the health and well-being to people in this community, and it is not singular in any way, shape, or form. So and you have staff who understand their role and the vision of this project for the whole community. So I just check where you're making assumptions about where people are going to land on certain decisions, because you might be surprised. And I also, this is your process. You're a public entity, public board. You have many public meetings. There's so many meetings for this project. Many opportunities for the public to get involved. And I understand people who don't want to show up and don't necessarily are shy, but how is the decision-making body supposed to know what people's concerns are if they don't show up? And our mechanisms for providing information are not, like, we do everything we can to put information out to the public, and all of you know how many people come to you and say, I didn't know, right? But it's been published in many places. And so the excuse of I shouldn't have to come to a meeting, well, that's the assumption that you are reading people's minds and know what people think and what their concerns are. And I'm just gonna ask you, like, how well does that work out for you? How often are you right in knowing without somebody telling you? So I hear what you're saying, Director Beitman, and the horse community is speaking to you and leaning on you and pushing on you to push back, but they're not here, and they haven't been at the meetings. But that doesn't mean that this group and the committee is not also interested in representing their use and wants for this project. That's all.
Okay, Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
Might note that
Okay, is there anything, anyone else?
15 horse people here.
Is there anyone else, members of the general public who wish to speak to this? Okay, seeing none, I'll recognize Director Mayo.
Oh, I just wanted to comment that a meeting or two ago, we had about 15 horse people here, and they were here for the wrong reason, but they were here, so.
They were here because they were concerned about the trails.
Well, right, but it wasn't what was on our agenda that night particularly, that's all I meant. So they do come, and just pointing that out.
And it was a bit of a frustrating night.
Okay, is anyone going to make a motion?
Well,
We have a motion.
Okay, who made the motion? Please restate it.
Dennis did.
You made a motion. Yes.
It did. But I was wondering, could we just like table this and bring it back to the next meeting? Is that a possibility?
I want to modify my motion. I'd like to approve staff's position and then ask the staff, or however the process is, to go back and consider adding an alternate to the committee that would be for someone from the horse community. That's it.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is that, was that motion clear to you guys? Do you need any clarification?
My only point of clarification is, so I have accept staff recommendation and request that the McKinleyville Community Forest Committee consider adding an alternate member to the TIC subcommittee. Are you asking specifically for Nancy Morelli to be
No,
considered for an
someone from the
alternate?
horse community, from the equestrian community. I'm not asking specifically for her.
Out of the pool of applicants, Nancy Morelli is the only person from the
So
equestrian
clarification,
committee.
should I then ask for her to,
Well,
okay, and yes,
could
for
I
her.
modify his motion? I mean, I would like to just go back to having 6 members, which is, putting an alternate is also a change in the rules and regulations. So saying that we're going to have 6 instead of 5 is
But
the
then
same.
But then that creates an issue with having
The-
more.
I think the alternate's a good way to go, Director Couch, because then if someone's not there, they can fill in and have the help with the quorum too.
Can I add to that?
Absolutely.
Where the ranking, your McKinleyville Community Forest Committee has already ranked this pool of applicants.
Yep.
And if you were to add that 6th member, Nancy Morelli would naturally be your 6th member by the ranking that's already been done of these applications.
Right, but relative to the Park and Rec Director's position or explanation of how many people it needs to be on a committee to have a quorum, that's why I thought the alternate would be the right way to go. Is that?
That is correct.
I could support that motion.
It's right,
When we vote
with
on it.
11, quorum is 6. If we have 12, the quorum needs to be 7, correct?
Okay, so for clarification, your alternate member, are you suggesting that Nancy Morelli be the
Correct.
alternate member? Okay.
Correct.
So accept staff recommendation and ask the McKinleyville Community Forest Committee to consider Nancy Morelli as an alternate member to the TIC subcommittee.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second.
We do. Director Beitman seconded it.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, Dennis and Jim both did. Okay, we're ready for a vote. Joey, would you please call the roll?
President Binder,
Yes.
Director Beitman,
Yes.
Director Couch,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
Hey, thank you.
was easy.
Staff has their recommendations, and we will see this next month, or, well, yeah.
Hopefully we don't have any long consent calendar items like that.
Whenever our next meeting is. Okay, moving along to continued new business. Item E1, consider approval of a revised salary schedule. This item will be presented by General Manager Kaspari and Finance Director Howard.
Thank you, President Binder. The MCSD Personnel Manual states, in order to maintain competitive salaries, the district endeavors to perform a salary survey to compare the district's salary schedules with similar positions at local and regional municipalities at approximate 5-year intervals. The MCSD Board Policy Manual states that the Employee Negotiation Committee will be called upon to meet with the General Manager to review wage studies and other proposed policy changes to MCSD benefit and compensation packages. Senior staff reviewed the revised salary schedule with the Employee Negotiations Committee at their October 18th, 2024 committee meeting. The committee asked clarifying questions and made a recommendation to take the revised schedule to the full board for approval. The last salary survey was completed in 2017, and in conformance with the above, the district hired CPS HR to perform a salary survey in the spring of 2023. They completed the study in September 2023, and the complete study is included as attachment 1. As detailed in the study, CPS HR completed a total compensation study looking at the competitiveness of the base salaries and benefits for the district and compared them with 10 similar agencies. The agencies are listed in the report and include the cities of Arcata, Eureka, Fortuna, Rio Dell, Crescent City, as well as the Humboldt Bay Municipal Water District and the Humboldt Community Services District. The main findings of the studies were that 1 salary range was significantly below market, 3 were below market, 4 were aligned, and 4 were above, and 4 were significantly above. And the bandwidth, i.e. the number of steps, should be increased from 6 to 9. The report then provided spreadsheets for their suggested salary increases, which are included in attachment 1. Senior district staff then took these recommendations and updated the salary schedule, which is also included as attachment 2. The revised salary schedule shows that the existing salary ranges for each of the district's positions. It also shows the CPS HR recommended salary range for each position in yellow, and it should be noted that the CPS HR recommendations were adjusted by the district's recent COLA increases to bring them in line with existing and recommended adjustments. The green highlighted rows for each position are the senior staff's recommendations. Staff recommendations also adopted CPS HR's recommendation to increase the bandwidth to 9 steps. This will save the district costs in some instances, since each step increase is now a smaller percentage increase between steps. Staff also focused on creating and maintaining equity between positions of equal responsibility, as well as creating and maintaining a continuous growth between positions of lower to higher responsibilities. Staff has also taken this opportunity to add a 25-year and a 30-year longevity steps. The district rewards employees for their loyalty with the current 10, 15, and 20-year longevity steps of 2.5%, and it makes sense to include 25 and 30-year longevity increases as well. Staff recommendations are generally aligned with CPS HR recommendations, but higher. It is important to note that CPS HR's recommendations are focused on keeping the district's total compensation in line with other agencies in the region. To that end, and as detailed in their report, they throw out the high and low salaries when making these recommendations. District staff, on the other hand, want to and are comparing the total compensation packages with the highest packages in the area. MCSD has always been viewed as one of the best places to work in the area, and senior staff wish to keep it that way. We do not want to compare our compensation packages to the low or mid-range agencies, but the top agencies. We would like to be first or second in all categories, which is what this salary schedule aims to achieve. Attachment 3 is an analysis of how the proposed salary schedule will impact district finances. The first column of the table in attachment 3 is the current salaries as of October 10th, 2024. Column 2 is what the impact would have if we were currently operating under the proposed salary schedule. The financial impact is $4,228,822 per year versus under the new schedule, $4,230,747 per year, or only an increase of $1,925. Column 4 is a budget estimate for fiscal year 25-26 with our current salary schedule. Compared to this to column 5, which shows the fiscal 25-26 estimated budget under the proposed salary schedule. The budget impact is $4,299,636 per year versus $4,374,481 per year, or an increase of $74,845, or only 1.7% over the proposed budget. The board should also note that as detailed in the general manager's report, staff has already saved the district $138,550 in cost savings for just the first 4 months of the fiscal year, more than paying for the proposed salary increase by almost twice over. It should be further noted that the district will also perform a rate study in 2026, and the new salary schedule will be incorporated into that rate study. Attachment shows the bar chart from the Humboldt Community Services District 2023 rate study, which shows that MCSD's water and sewers rates continue to be among the lowest in the region and significantly below Eureka's, Arcata's, and HCSD's. The quality of our staff is directly responsible for running an efficient, excellent organization that provides superior service to our ratepayers at very low cost, as further demonstrated by winning the McKinleyville Chamber of Commerce Excellence in Community Service Awards the last 2 years running, and the California Water Environment Association's Collection System of the Year award this year. So staff recommends that the board review the proposed revised salary schedule, discuss, take public comments, and approve the revised staff schedule for implementation in the 2025-26 fiscal year. And it should be noted that this is a roll call vote, not as staff direction under type of action.
Okay, thank you. Any board comment on this?
Yeah, I want to thank you for the careful, complete, and I guess easy to follow comparison. I'm truly pleased with the presentation. And I want to thank you for the time and the effort and the care that went into its preparation.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from our committee. We sent our committee to our negotiation committee. I'd like to hear what they had to say, what their input is on this, and any recommendations that they might have, and how the meeting went, and sort of get kind of a background of what actually went on since they were there. I think it's.
Well, we kind of looked at this and thought it, I thought it was good. I was especially happy with some of the lower paid jobs getting bumped up a little, because I'd like to have all our employees, make a good working level of pay. So that was my opinion on it.
I agree. I had a few questions, but after your negotiator showed me some pictures of me in compromising situations, I said, what the hell? Yeah, we better go along with you. No, that's just a joke. It's a joke. I concur with Director Couch's assessment.
Okay.
We thought, Greg, you might have a few comments, though.
About your compromising pictures, or?
You probably
have
seen them. Anyway.
Okay, I took a look at it too, compared it with the local comps, and just and what the ratepayers are paying right now in comparison with the comparables, both city and unincorporated, the special districts involved. And I find it fair. If they think it's fair, then I'm all for it. Any comments from staff?
I had other comments.
Okay, Greg, make your other comment.
So, as staff can attest to this, from the rank and file all the way up to management, from my experience, this is a very arduous task. So I commend staff for putting in the work and bringing this back to us. I very much appreciate all the thoughtfulness that went into this, CPSHR's work on this, but mainly having to trudge through and try to compare apples to oranges with the different job descriptions, because the things that you guys do, you guys and gals do, might not necessarily be what other people do in other districts or other cities. So the amount of effort to bring this to the board is not lost on me, having the experience of doing this. So I just want to thank you all very much for taking the time to do this. I do have a couple of questions. So, and Pat, you can probably be the one to answer this. So we're requesting that we want to move from 6 to 9 steps. Is that sort of, in our market around here, is that sort of the status quo now, or how did we come to the 6 to 9? Because it's about a 5% difference between 6 steps at 5% increase or 9 steps at 4% increase. So it's only really, it's a 9%, or it's a 5% difference in total from the beginning to the end.
The 9 steps was definitely CPSHR's recommendation, and yes, if you look at similar rate schedules around here, they typically have that larger bandwidth. And as mentioned in the report, it generally, the step from step to step is a lower amount.
Yeah, it's 4 instead of 5.
Right, and so that spreads the cost out over, it benefits the district too. It spreads that cost out over multiple fiscal years, as opposed to when the staff gets a step increase in one fiscal year to the next fiscal year.
Yeah, and plus, as somebody who spent many years at stepped out, I can appreciate you guys being stuck at step 6 and having the only thing you have to look forward to is your increases that you get for your time and service. So another question I had is related to the total cost is the $4.374 million. Is that the total cost for all wages for all departments?
Yes.
Okay. And that's so basically the first year this impact is going to have a 1.7% increase in
Our overall budget, yes.
the overall budget, not in the budget for the wages, but in the overall budget for the operating budget. So what a $13 million budget, it's a 1.7%. Okay. See, I had a couple other questions. So other questions that I had are kind of, so if we have somebody who's at step 6 now, and we approve this, then they would reasonably have more, they would have more steps to do, or how's that going to work? If somebody's at step 6 now, is that going to translate to like step 7 or step 8 or something like that? Would they have more steps then, or how's that going to work?
So the way it's going to work across the board is that staff will be moved to the next step that is closest to their current rate of pay. That doesn't give them a cut in pay.
Right, so that they don't have a cut and pay, so.
Right.
So it won't be like, it won't be you're at step 6 now, so you're gonna go to step 6, it's gonna be you're making this much money per month, so you'll be lined up so that you're not taking a cut and pay, so however that falls, you'll end up on that step.
Right, so people who are stepped out now might go to step 6, they might go to step 7, et cetera.
Okay.
Right.
Depending on how close they are.
Rounding up, of course.
And as explained to me, which I think I understand, is that over the longevity of an employment, this will give people more opportunity to know that they're progressing and not just bottoming out.
So in one thing, in a clarification, I asked the general manager for, and I think the board, I don't know if you're clear on it, but in attachment number 2 are the schedules, and what we're approving are the lines that are highlighted in green, so that you know what we're actually going to approve at this point in time.
What he said when.
Oh, okay. I wasn't paying
Yeah,
attention.
that is correct.
And I think, let me see, I think that was all.
Okay.
I think that was all, that's all I had.
Is that all, Greg?
Yeah, that's all I had,
Okay.
thank you.
Any of the other board have comments that they want to make? Any more? Staff? Members of the workforce?
You guys, none of you guys have anything to say? Okay.
I think the entirety of the gallery is made up out of beneficiaries of this item. And, no? Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Thank you. Behind Norm, no wonder I couldn't see him.
So I'll move this per staff recommendation if there's no more discussion on this item.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Joey, please?
President Bender?
Yes.
Director Beitman? Yes. Director Couch?
Yes.
Director Mayo?
Yes.
Director Orsini?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for your hard work, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen,
And thank you, guys.
we'll see you next go-round.
And thank you all for coming and listening, and
Oh, Dennis gets
Supporting us.
Dennis gets those negatives, you guys. With the digital stuff, yeah. Yeah.
Gotta feed Dennis into AI and see what kind of photo I can get of him. Oh, I can make something. Okay. Item E2, annual review and discussion of the 2024-2029 strategic plan. This item is presented by Joey Blaine.
Thank you, President Bender. The McKinleyville Community Services District Strategic Plan was approved September 4th. Not that day, pardon my mess up. As a part of the process, the strategic plan is reviewed by staff and board annually to reflect continued progress that MCSD makes with projects, finances, and improvement programs. This plan is foundational to the district's long-term financial health and stability, yet provides annual reviews to stay grounded in the current and midterm needs of the community we serve. The strategic plan will continue to be presented to the board annually for approval. Tonight, we encourage the board to review the material and bring any revisions or comments to the meeting for discussion. The board is invited to ask for clarification on staff-suggested revisions and comments if needed prior to the meeting. Staff recommends that the board review the proposed staff revisions to the strategic plan, attachment 1, discuss, make recommendations, and take public comment. No action will be taken at this time, as this item will return for approval at the February 5th, 2025 board meeting.
Okay, thank you. We'll bring the item back to the board for comments on the revisions and track changes.
Yeah, I've got some. Is there anything that staff would like to point out or bring up in the strategic plan as far as any comments or anything related to the what's going on with the strategic plan as we speak?
And not really, staff, everything is pretty much on target. I think the only one that we needed to push the date out was updating the Parks and Rec master plan, and that was largely due to the change in staffing that occurred over the last year. And so we are on schedule to update that this upcoming year. Pretty much everything else is on schedule, and we are getting a lot of these things done.
Okay, great.
Very good.
Okay, any other member of the board wish to make a comment on the revisions or changes? This looks to me like you just redlining and filling in what we got done, for the most part. So, okay, any comments from the general public? Okay, seeing none, we'll move along to item E3. Consider adoption, Resolution 2024-24, initiating the transfer of funds from, excuse me? I know, I see him. Oh, restart. Consider adoption of Resolution 2024-24, initiating the transfer of funds from Humboldt County Treasury to Umpqua Bank into California Class. This item will be presented by Finance Director Howard.
Thank you. Humboldt County Treasury funds are currently earning 2.5%. Umpqua money market funds are currently earning 2.49%, and California Class investments are currently earning approximately 5.00%. The district currently has balances with the Humboldt County Treasury and recommends actions as follows. General Parks and Rec funds, 1.26 million approximately, transfer the full balance from Humboldt County Treasury to Umpqua Bank. Measure B assessment funds of $294,780, transfer the full balance to Umpqua. The Biosolid Disposal Reserves of $73,974, transfer the full balance to California Class. And the Davis-Grunsky Reserves of $17,498,000, transferring the full balance to California Class. Staff recommends transferring Parks and Rec funds along with Measure B funds from the County Treasury to Umpqua Bank. Returns on the funds are equal, and the ease, responsiveness, reporting on interest, and turnaround time on fund transfers, security, and other fiscal management from Umpqua Bank far exceed the County Treasury management. In addition, staff recommends transferring the reserve funds from Humboldt County Treasury to California Class where they can earn higher interest. Staff recommends the board review the information provided, discuss and adopt resolution 2024-24, authorizing the initiation of fund transfers from Humboldt County Treasury to Umpqua Bank and California Class.
Okay, thank you. Sounds like kind of a no-brainer to me. Is there any reason why this wasn't done earlier?
I cannot speculate onto that.
Okay. Any comments from the board? Greg, of course.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm fully in support of this. I think that the access to the money, our liquidity, having to get the money out of the county is can be tough at times. We'll have much better access to the money if it's in our money market account at Umpqua or in California Class. We have a 24-hour turnaround at California Class.
Currently, it's a same-day turnaround.
Same day turnaround at California Class. So our liquidity is much better access to our funds, and just the dividend, the amount of money we're making on our reserves is the county can't match that. In fact, the county, since we have Supervisor Madrone on, he should probably recommend that the board they review what California Class, the county could be putting their money there and making the same amount of interest that we're making, if they so were inclined. But anyway, I'm very much in support of this, and we won't hold it against you that you didn't do this before you started working for us. So,
Are there any other board comments? Dennis?
I agree with Director Orsini. The only question I have is there any relationship issues with our relationship with the county? I mean, we can move these funds back and forth, and there shouldn't be any, but is there any kind of untoward feelings about us doing this? Not that will determine my decision. I'm just curious.
So I spoke with my direct contact. Her name is Grace Hallmarker. I actually spoke with her today to confirm that we have no minimum balance requirements with them. And she alluded to it's basically our reserve policy. which is covered under our California class investments. So I think a quick answer to your question is no. Our revenue will drop in there as it does now. I think it's 3 times a year we get our property tax revenue as well as our Measure B assessment revenue gets dropped in there every year. So we'll be having this discussion every year moving forward, depending on what the yields are between Humboldt County and the other investment revenues that we have.
And,
So.
and enlighten me if I'm mistaken, we can move back and forth into that at our choosing.
I am not positive about putting money into the county. I don't have experience with that, but maybe Pat knows that answer.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can move money.
All right, good.
I can't imagine why we would want to take money that's making over 5% and
Well,
put it
like-
in where we're making 2%. That
The only,
doesn't seem-
the only reason I bring that up is if in a year or 2 years, that's a better interest rate that we could move back.
Yeah.
That's all, yeah. I don't.
We'll still have money in the county because our Quimby will still be there because we have to spend that money before we can draw on the Quimby. And as Samantha said, our ad valorem gets dropped in there 3 times a year, and so does our Measure B.
Cool.
Okay, Jim?
To answer the question, why didn't we do this sooner? California class was presented to us for the first time only a few months ago, and it was new to us, and we moved post-employment benefits reserve funds into that. We had no experience with it, and I guess at this point we have had experience with it. The experience has been quite good, and which suggests that it would be prudent for us to move other funds into California class. And I think that's, am I seeing that correctly?
I believe so. Looking back at resolutions, the initial investment to California class was done in February of 2023. So definitely that was a good move. One thing that was not done in the past was the negotiation of the Umpqua Bank interest rate. That's something that was done in May of this year. So that's really the interest rate that's most comparable to the county at this time, whereas the revenues at California class were established prior to my employment here.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, so for me too, we have a fairly significant amount of money in our money market account. At some point, maybe staff might consider taking some of that money and diverting it into California class, where it would be fetching twice as much interest. But of course, we don't want to affect our liquidity either, but we do have same-day access to it, so anyway, that's just something for maybe staff to consider.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with this agenda.
I have a question. It's not something I need to answer.
Go ahead,
right.
Dennis.
I have something that doesn't necessarily need to be answered right now, but maybe you could enlighten us as time goes. Can we pull any amount of money out of class anytime we want for other uses that we want to do or other investment? And is there a penalty for doing that? And like I said, I don't need a complete answer now, maybe in the future.
I don't believe there's any penalties for moving funds out of California class, and as I mentioned, it is the same day option. However, funds that are in California class are subject to our reserve policy. So I don't know what that dollar amount is off of the top of my head, but there is a dollar amount that has to stay there to cover our liabilities.
So sometime when you have time and stuff, you might add that into your financial report sometime, just for our
Definitely.
information. I'd appreciate that.
Definitely. And to answer your question, Greg, yes, I am looking at the money market funds. I look at them daily to ensure that my target balance for the checking account is 1.2 million. So I move money in and out of the money market daily to keep that balance and earn the maximum amount of interest revenue that I can in the money market account. As we progress with the 4.5 million gallon tank and that project ends, I will be looking to reduce the balance in our money market to earn the higher revenue.
Thank you.
Okay, any other board comments? Staff comments that haven't already been made? Comments from the general public? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask for a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Joey, please.
President Binder,
Yes.
Director Biden,
Yes.
Director Couch,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
Okay, that item passes. Okay, moving on to item E4. Consider application for CAL FIRE Forest Health Grant and adopt Resolution 2024-23 designating the general manager as the authorized agent. And our general manager will be presenting this item.
Thank you, President Binder. CAL FIRE's Forest Health Program funds active restoration and reforestation activities aimed at providing for more resilient and sustained forests to ensure future existence of forests in California, while also mitigating climate change, protecting communities from fire risk, strengthening rural economies, and improving California's water and air. Eligible forest health projects must be large capacity, large scale with multiple benefits. It's getting late. The minimum grant amount requested for management activity projects should be no less than $750,000 with a maximum allowable request of $7 million. CAL FIRE reserves the right to fund projects in total or in part, whichever best serves the objectives of the Forest Health Program. MCSD has been actively partnering with Humboldt County Resource Conservation District and Green Diamond Resource Company in the preparation of scoping and environmental documents for a vegetation treatment project, or CAL VTP. This process has been funded by a CAL FIRE Technical Assistance Grant. HCRCD, Green Diamond, and the district would now like to pursue a CAL FIRE Forest Health Grant to implement the CAL VTP scope. The RFP for the Forest Health Grant is expected to be released as early as November. In fact, we actually heard earlier this week, the Forest Health Program will launch fiscal year 2024-25 Forest Health Grant solicitations at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Wednesday, November 13th. Applications will be due at 3 p.m. PST on Wednesday, January 15th, 2025. McKinneyville Community Forest Committee discussed this grant at their October 15th, 2024 meeting and recommended that the board approve pursuing the grant application. Ideally, the CAL VTP project scope would have been approved by the board prior to pursuing this funding to implement it. Unfortunately, the CAL VTP documents are not finalized and time is of the essence in commitment to this partnership to pursue this grant funding. The CAL VTP scope is anticipated to come to the MCSD board at their December 4th, 2024 board meeting to approve the CEQA documents. Attachment 1 is the project description figures showing the areas where shaded fuel breaks and wildland urban interface fuel reduction treatments will take place on Green Diamond and community forest lands. The complete scope and project description should be available in December. So staff recommends that the board review the information provided, discuss, take public comment, and adopt Resolution 2024-23, designating the general manager to be the authorized agent to sign all necessary documentation for the CAL Forest Fire Health Grant to implement the CAL Fire Vegetation Treatment Program project.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Okay, board, do we have any discussion on this item? Go ahead, Dennis.
I just wanted to make a comment. Not only the CAL FIRE position, but Aqua and special districts and legislative work that we've done for a long time on Headwaters Fire. This fuel reduction is a big deal. It's very important. And I'm very disappointed, since we have somebody listening, very disappointed that our county has went the route of a few others, opposing efforts that would enhance fuel reduction. The pellet manufacturing is a very important part of this program. And we've worked legislatively for 15 years now, Pat, on this. Headwaters had Barbara Boxer and the Sierra Club not fouled our efforts to begin with, we may not have had these horrible fires, the first Santa Rosa fire. because the efforts to do this reduction correctly and aggressively got foiled. So I just wanted to say that. I think it's, some of the, well, I think I've said enough. I think you get where I'm at on this. This is very important. Support it completely. I support all the fuel reduction measures that we can make. It is important to protect not only our forests, but our watersheds. If our forests aren't whole, we don't have watersheds. So pellets are a good thing, and this is an outstanding thing, and I hope we get it. And I support it 100%.
Okay, thanks, Dennis.
Yeah, thank you. Just for clarification, so this grant is basically for doing boundary protection. It's not really for proper fuel.
No, it is for
reduction.
both. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. On the community forest outline, that yellow, that's the shaded fuel break, but all the green dots within it, that's for thinning.
Oh, so we will be thinning throughout okay, very good. All right. That's great. And then, yeah, that's all I really had. Yeah, we have to reduce our stems per acre. That's the recipe for keeping these fires from destroying forests and cities and. 6 million sheep back in this country. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other comments from the board?
I'll make a motion.
Comments from staff? Comments from the general public, including those on Zoom? Seeing none, we do have a motion from Director
Second.
Orsini and a second from Director Mayo. Joey, would you please call the roll?
President Binder,
Yes.
Director Beitman,
Yes.
Director Couch,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That passes. Okay, moving on to active committee reports. Park and Rec Committee, I did not attend, and I completely apologize for that. That was entirely my fault. I just missed it on my calendar. It's the first meeting of this district that I've missed since my participation in 2020. And I feel pretty bad about that. I know. Okay, B, Area Fund. That would be Mr. Colstead and myself. We did not meet. C, Redwood Region Economic Development Commission. Mr. Beitman.
It met. And we heard a presentation from the hang on a second here. From the Humboldt Builders Exchange. And they were largely telling us about their work to support the hiring of licensed contractors. There was really not much else other than some reports, and that was the extent of the meeting. Not much, there was no business brought. There was no real business brought to the board. It was just all informational. So that's all I have to. That's all I have to report. I mean, there's we got a chart on the active loans, the size of the loans, the amount that's out, and how much is coming from Headwaters Fund, how much is coming from REDEC funds, and how much is coming from other sources of funds. And REDEC, to a large extent, has been acting as a conduit for other funds.
How much money does REDIC have loaned out right now?
REDIC doesn't, as at this point, REDIC has, according to this chart, has 12 loans out for a total of $2.3 million. And EDA, I forgot what EDA stands for. District funds comprise the majority of that. REDIC funds themselves have increased. They went from virtually nothing a year ago to a significant portion of that. And the way they have done that basically is they have been selling their assets, which are the loans that they have. They've been selling them to the Headwaters Fund. Headwaters Fund has been purchasing
So they've
loans.
been selling the people that have debt with them to.
Yeah,
to
they've just
Headwaters?
basically been selling the, what do you say, selling the asset, which is the balance, the loan balance and so on. They've been selling that in order to generate cash to be able to make more loans rather than going out to Headwaters every time they. Secondary market, like banks. It's basically a secondary. The secondary market for their loans, and they've been using that to generate cash. As of 2 years ago, they were basically have depleted all of their available cash, and now they've been selling their loans to regenerate the cash so that they can continue to make more loans. It's interesting to hear that Headwaters has been supportive of them as they've done that. I think that's a total. I mean, beyond that, every community reports in, and we learned how the city of Rio Dell has been working on and is very successful the spay and neuter program, and issuing. We had a 20-minute discussion on issuing of grant or issuing, I guess, vouchers to people in the community to spay and neuter their dogs and cats. I guess the community has had shall we say, an unneutered cat problem, and they've solved it with a local discount or Fernbridge discount, spay and neuter clinic, and end up giving out vouchers to the city and people living in the city. And that was pretty much I think that was the big news, that and the parties that are going on in Blue Lake. That's, I think, pretty much the news from REDIC.
Okay, is that it? Okay, thanks. Okay, McKinleyville Senior Center Board, that would be me. We're just putting along just like normal. We do have a few things coming up. We have a presentation by a palliative psychologist by the name of Dr. Gina Burton from Arcata, and she is putting on what's called a Death Cafe here, and this is coming up the Wednesday after next. And what this is it's kind of a roundtable discussion. It's a mentored discussion about how to learn more about death while you're living, so that you won't be so afraid of death, and see how that it is part of the circle of life itself. She's a very, very smart lady, and she knows how to get her point across. Also, we're having a vaccine clinic in cooperation with Redwood Community Pharmacy on the same day in our center. The Death Cafe thing is going to take place in this room. Yeah, it sounds morbid, but it isn't. There's a lot of information about this online if you want to Google it, and it's a real deal. Also, we're getting ready to bring out our Christmas stuff, and we are going to be doing this probably prior to Thanksgiving. because the Azalea Hall is going to be closed for 2 weeks in December, and we want to kind of maximize our time. We did get a hold of a couple of estate sales worth of vintage Christmas stuff, so it ought to be pretty good. We're going to be farming it out little by little in our center so that we can get a lot of return people who want to decorate their homes for Christmas, so we're kind of excited about that. And hopefully by then I'll be walking, be able to haul stuff around.
Aren't you guys gonna be, isn't there gonna be a screening, a Crowded Ivory screening pretty soon?
The life, what's it called? Life screening or whatever, that's scheduled for next week.
Yeah, what is it, $160 or something? The ultrasound your Crowded Ivory.
Yeah, I think it's going to be next Friday, but it is on the Day Smart calendar, not Lifeline, it's something else. But it's on the Park and Rec calendar. It'll be here.
And they come once a year or twice a year?
I think they come twice a year. Director Messmer would probably be able to tell you more about that.
Yeah, used to be once a year, but now they're twice a year. It's a different staff person every time that I deal with. They're back east.
Okay, thanks. Okay, Audit and Finance Committee, Director Orsini, or Mr. Whiteman.
Yeah, I'll take the first shot at it, and Jim, you can catch anything that I might miss. So we did meet. We met on the 1st, and I was late, and we met with our representative Bob Schull from CalClass, and had a briefing on the different investment strategies for our portfolio. Anybody who's been paying attention, our money right now is in what is it? Anyway, the strategy we're using for our money right now works really good for while the interest rates are high, but as the interest rates start to drop, there'll be another program that we can put our money into, and it'll be a little bit more restrictive, and it'll be the interest rates will be locked in. They won't fluctuate. I just for if this matters to anybody, they did drop. A couple of weeks ago, they dropped the rate, the prime rate, 50 basis points, half a percentage point. And since then, the mortgage rates have been going up, and I'm on the Finance Corporation board for CSDA, and the money we've been loaning out, the interest rates have been creeping up, even though the prime's been dropped. So there's kind of a balancing act that's going on right now basically what I'm getting at is that they're probably not going to be lowering the interest rates again anytime soon, and we can our money's where our money's at right now, invested with CalClass will probably be the best investment strategy for the time being. We also discussed our Section 115 trust, which is a trust that we set up for our post-employment benefits, and we ended up with $400,000 in dividends or something like that. So we have $2.5 million in that account, and we made $400,000 in interest last year on that. So it's actually helping to fund our what I'm having a brain fart right now. What is that for? It funds
PAYGO.
the PAYGO for it funds the PAYGO for the
OPEB liability.
the OPEB liability. Thank you. Sorry about that. And then item 6, I don't remember what that was, but we postponed it. And then we we discussed the finance director reports that we have, so you might see some modifications in the coming months for ease of use or more explanation in the finance director's reports in the consent calendar. And that's all I had. Did I miss anything, Jim?
That's a really good and clear summary, Greg. The only thing to say on that was we did have, as you referred to, we had a discussion about what's happening with interest rates. We are, through CalClass, we're currently invested, our funds are currently invested in short-term debt with a time horizon of, investment time horizon of basically 1 day. In other words, the funds are virtually totally liquid. At other times, that might not be the best place because typically longer term investment funds yield higher than short term, but we have for some time been experiencing what's referred to as an inverted yield curve, which basically says that the short term funds have actually been making a higher return than longer term investments. We did consider the possibility that the yield curve will normalize at some point in the future, and at that time we might consider moving some portion of the funds into a longer investment horizon option that may become available, but as I understood, not currently available from CalClass. Am I right on that? And the best that I could tell from listening to the discussion of that is that we're in the same position as a lot of other entities who have funds in CalClass. Everybody's holding back and waiting to see what happens with yield curves before they decide they move funds into a longer investment horizon. So we're going to stand tight along with everybody else and just wait to see what the future brings. And at such time as a longer term and basically 6 to 18 months investment horizon becomes more attractive because of the longer term investment yields rising, then we may consider moving our funds if CalClass makes it available, which they probably wouldn't consider moving our funds. So that's kind of a little more detail on that. The rest of it's just basically as you reported, Greg, with a nice discussion with Samantha about the report that she's providing. And I think we are in agreement that we like the report. So we especially like the graphical presentation, as it gives us a very quick look at things. And we had just a little bit of discussion about a couple of other items that might be added to that, and we were looking at, especially we were looking at capital funds and coverage of capital project obligations as something that might be added to the report. So I'm basically just saying the same thing that you said, Greg. So, yeah.
Much more articulate, though.
Okay, thank you. Okay, employee negotiations, Director Couch. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I anticipated. Thank you. Okay, McKinleyville Municipal Advisory Committee, Director Orsini.
It was the joint meeting.
Oh, that's right. It was a joint meeting. We were all there. I don't think I need to report anything.
Oh, okay. All right. H, Ad Hoc Committee Community Forest, Director Mayo and Director Orsini. Is this even applicable anymore?
It should just say Community Forest Committee.
And it should be
Director Orsini,
and
Beitman.
Beitman.
From Orsini and Beitman.
I think pretty much everything that we covered tonight on the selection of community participants for the TIC subcommittee is what we covered during the meeting.
Yeah, I should note that I was on a trip to visit family, and so did not attend the meeting. And I spoke, who did I speak with? Committee chair, who said that they would appoint an alternate, and I have no idea who that was, so.
Are you talking about the subcommittees appointing a
Yeah,
chairperson,
subcommittee,
vice chairperson?
subcommittee.
So the TICS subcommittee tabled it until the possible 5 public members were able to also vote on who they would like for their chair, vice chair. So those have not been selected for the TICS. The forest management plan, obviously that meeting just happened yesterday, feels like. Landed on Kevin Creed as the chair, Maya Conrad as the vice chair, and Pat as the secretary.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving along, Humboldt Bay Muni Water Task Force, Director Couch. Did not meet. Yeah.
Yeah, since Carol's not been there, haven't you?
Okay, F2, legislative and regulatory reports. Anyone? You're always good for a legislative report.
Couple things. One, I thought I had this pulled up here, so bear with me. Help me out, Pat. I sent that to you. What was,
Senate Bill, geez, I want to say 5.
anyway, Aqua came up with a set of suggestions, 6 regulatory suggestions, and I ran it by Pat, and Pat agreed to, and I sent a letter of support for it. Then also, I've been on the phone a lot today with different representatives. I do not have a working relationship with our new Senator Schiff. I've met with him a couple of times over the years when in DC and different places on things, but very cursory. I have no relationship with him. But I reached out to Senator McGuire's chief of staff today, and we talked about it, and he has put me in touch with the DC transition team for Shift in DC. And
He doesn't get sworn in, so.
well, I know, but I'll be out there in February. I just bought my tickets to Aqua's lobbying conference in DC, and so I've already got 10 appointments scheduled, but I'll be working on getting an appointment with Shift as well. And like, I just wanted to say that I think it's incumbent on any of us, and myself, I make a solemn promise to my board and to our community that I will develop a working relationship with Senator Schiff because it's important. We probably don't share like views on quite a few things, but as with Senator Pro Tem President McGuire, we don't share every opinion either, but we have a great working relationship, and I pledge that I will develop a great working relationship with Senator Schiff because it's important to us.
Well, and would this be one of those times that that Rojas Group might be help you facilitate getting in to see
Have talked
Senator
with him,
Schiff
yeah.
when he gets seated?
Yeah, definitely. For a discussion later may have been better previously, but, so yes, yeah, and I also just wanted to throw out, and probably won't get very far, but anybody in the community that has you know, realistic concerns when I go to Sacramento or to DC, and I go for us. I also go for myself several times a year. Get a hold of me. You can get a hold of me directly. My phone number's out there. If you need to call the district, Joey can give you my number. I'm happy to run any relevant issues up the flagpole when I'm out there. So don't think I've got all the questions and answers. I look to the community for as much guidance too on what we need. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out.
Okay, I got a question here. Let me see, Mr. Schiff, that was, in terms of Rojas, that was in Jaime's realm. Now it's going to be in Jason's realm in DC, isn't it?
No, different, absolutely different. Jaime's California, Jason was DC, but now we have a new person in DC who I'm going to meet when I'm out there.
Oh,
Yeah, Jason
Actually,
and
I'll
Jaime
probably
have
meet-
separated.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll probably meet her at Indian Wells. I think she'll be at Indian Wells, so we'll get that.
Get acquainted with her.
Jason was much more plugged into the Democratic side of things, and although they, you know, work both sides of the aisle.
Sure.
So, but I look at all of this stuff like an opportunity to benefit our district. You know, so that's my viewpoint.
okay. Is there anything else on legislative and regulatory reports? Hearing none, we'll move along to staff reports. Finance and Administration Department, Ms. Howard.
I have nothing to add other than to highlight the auditors will be here the week of November 18th, and I cannot wait for it to be over.
I can imagine. Okay, Operations Department, Mr. Henry.
I have something to report.
Ooh.
Really nothing. I want to just bring, in case you missed it in my staff report, this year CEWA awards, the district won some awards and so did staff. Collection system person, Jordan Johnson, got that. Collection system, McKinleyville Community Service District. Electrical instrumentation person, I think we all know who won that, Bill McBroom.
So you didn't run, so you didn't steal that
I
award
thought
from
I
Bill.
would step down and let him have that. His words, your words, not mine. Safety Plant of the Year, McKinleyville Community Service District, and then me, I got the Quarter Century Award.
Quarter Century Award?
Means I'm old.
I've got something for James.
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed we had another leak in the floor in the dosage room. Those are always fun. I can remember. Oh yeah. So all the water pipes are in the slab in the dosage room in the treatment plant, and so when one of them starts leaking, it's jackhammer time. Those are always fun.
Okay. Parks and Recreation Department, Director Messmer.
I just wanted to also highlight something. We did not win any awards, so sorry about that. But the park meeting did move our meeting times from 6:30 to 6 in an effort to hopefully get more people to show up. So going forward, they will still on Wednesdays, but they will start at 6 p.m. instead of 6:30.
Okay, thank you. Okay, General Manager.
I did want to bring up, so the December board meeting, December 4th, Director Mayo and Binder are going to be down at the Aqua Conference, so they are not going to be here. So the remaining, if you are not going to be here, the remaining directors, please let us know, so we know that we won't have any issues with a quorum. Go ahead, Director Mayo.
Yeah, so I just assumed that we would Zoom in.
And I guess that does meet the requirements of Just Cause, because they are there on district business.
Yeah.
So,
And I didn't talk to President Bender about it yet, but it would be my intention to do that, and if you're interested, we could do it together.
We still need to have a quorum physically present.
right, that's
On
true.
location, though.
Yeah, yep, good point, Joey, thanks.
And so you'll let us know that ahead of time,
If we don't have a quorum, we will if we know, yeah.
or would that just be kind of fluid where if, no, we don't have to.
I plan on being here.
I hope you would.
I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be here because
I'll be here.
Yes.
yes, the Deaf Cafe.
Also want to
I'll
bring
let
up,
you take my spot on the cafe dying deal.
also want to bring up that we might have to have a special board meeting in December to swear in directors Orsini and Binder, once we hear from the elections and get their certified. And so we'll be in touch with you about that as well.
Yeah,
Could we do that in the afternoon too? Is that, I mean, we don't have to do it at 6 at night. Could we do that any time during the day?
Sure.
And so in Supervisor Madrone's on, he might be able to tell us when the board's gonna approve those appointments, he might know. Why can't we just wait and then do it before the meeting starts on the 1st, or after the beginning of the year? Because it would be February, because we're not gonna have.
Right.
Right.
And so, yeah, we'd be running January and
Without, yeah, with only, yeah, without.
I think it's
with-
better to
with-
have a special meeting to get it done, because who knows what could come up.
Yeah, we need to be, in case we get an emergency meeting, God forbid.
Yeah, but
we
we
need
could
to
always
be
be
ready.
sworn in at the beginning of the meeting. I mean, but I could see us not wanting to go all for 2 months without it, with only 3 board members. There's no telling what you guys have changed without me and Scott around.
You'll be appointed to every
man.
committee, brother.
We have to talk.
that's it for me.
Okay, that's it for me. Okay, President's report. Well, as far as the district goes, I just went to pre-board. I did attend the 2x3 with Director Beck from the DHHS. That was quite an interesting conversation. I also attended the Aqua Social Media Outreach Subcommittee meeting this month. That was nice, but what I really wanted to say was that this will be my last meeting here, sitting in this seat with the gavel here, and it's been, quite an honor, frankly, to have to sit and be the president of this body. And I think probably the highlight of my year was signing the certificate of acceptance for our community forest and being able to cut the ribbon, and I'll never forget that. So that's all I have to say. Okay, item F 4.5. We'll now recognize Supervisor Madrone if he wants to make any comments, and I see his hand up.
Thank you, President Bender, and you have done a fantastic job this year, so congratulations and thank you for service. To Director Orsini's question, I assume that your 2 positions will be dealt with by the board after the election is certified, right? So that takes, I think, about a month. I don't think it can happen before then, but I will certainly ask Juan Pablo Cervantes to clarify that, and if there's anything different, I'll let your general manager know and your president. The other 2 things I wanted to mention was congratulations to the middle school. Their measure passed, and that's really great to see the community supporting the school, the kids, the teachers, etc. Also, as you may have seen, it looks like Measure O is also going to pass 62% at this point, and that's going to bode well for our county roads and some funding for transit. That both of those should benefit McKinneyville area as well. So that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor. Okay, F5, board member comments, announcements, reports, and agenda item requests.
Go ahead.
So I went down to the Region 1 annual event at San Rafael last week. We went through their watershed. Their watershed is amazing. They have 9 developed water resources. Tamales Bay, Reservoir, Salujala Reservoir, Laguntas Creek. I'm butchering these names, I apologize. Niacina Reservoir, Kent Lake, San Leandro Retaining System, Alpine Lake, Bon Tempe Lake, Lake Laguentis, which the Laguentis is where the water source for the Laguentis beer is. Lagunitas, Phoenix Lake. They've got 2 really kick-ass coho streams that's doing excellent. So it's a pretty amazing system. I brought a book here on the history of their system. I think the first reservoir here, which is Bon Tempe, was originally developed in like 1864 or 5, something like that.
Right before California became a state, isn't it?
Well, I don't know the answer to that.
1960.
When it became a state in 1850.
Oh, 1850, okay, so right after.
Yeah, I was
September
thinking.
9th, 1850.
There you go.
There it is.
That reservoir has been built and updated and upbuilt, and the man that originally did it went on to building some of the great dams in the world. But the highlight of this for me, and I kind of knew this, but it became even more clear. So their whole water system has been developed and developed and developed as the communities of Corte Madera and Larkspur and Kentfield and Ross and San Rafael and San Anselmo and Fairfax and Mill Valley and Marin City have all grown and grown and grown. And they get, with all of their water, they get 25% of their water from Sonoma County. Now, think that backwards. Where does Sonoma County get a bunch of their water? Out of the Eel River. So we're also providing water to San Rafael. So when we think and we work, all of us, trying to find a way to get some of this Eel River water back in, out of the dam diversion back in to help our our teeny little critters, our little fishes. I don't know the right word for them. Well, yeah, but the little, there are times when we need that water worse than others. And so in the negotiations over the years, we've kind of been focusing on, we don't want all of this water, we just need the water at specific times. And I've always thought that that was the way that we, would get some more water back into the eel. Now that I see this, my God, I don't know, I'm not, it's just, the voting mass is absolutely against us. So I just throw that out as something that most people probably don't know, that 25% of Marin's water is coming from Sonoma County, and a pretty good portion of that water that goes into the Russian River water system, which we comes out of the Eel River. So anyway, that's it. I got maps and the booklets here. They're really cool. I would suggest you all take a look at them. They're very fascinating.
Yeah, I just, only one thing. Thank you very much, Scott, for your leadership as being guiding, being in charge of the meetings and making sure that the meetings run smoothly is no easy task with Dennis and I on the board. So I very much appreciate your being here and keeping the meetings running smooth. You've done an awesome job, so kudos to you.
Yeah, Scott, you've done a great job, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any other board member comments, announcements, agenda item requests?
Is that worth the $25 you gave me, or should I say more?
A little bit more, maybe. Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Thank you.